Hey everyone, welcome back to Art of the Round Table. Today we are diving into something a little different. I'll be painting the iconic Swamp Thing, but it'll be part drawing time-lapse, part real-time painting. This is going to be a test run for future live stream setups, so you'll get to see how it all comes together. I'd love your feedback at the end, what you've enjoyed, and what you'd like to see live next time. With that out the way, let's go. Welcome and welcome back everyone. This is Art of the Round Table. My name is Mello, and today, much like the gentleman I'm drawing emerging from a primordial swamp, we're conducting a little experiment. I'm going to put my tools on screen while I explain. Today I'm drawing and painting Swamp Thing, an iconic DC Comics character who began as a scientist called Alec Holland, whose lab was destroyed, causing him to fall into a swamp and emerge as a plant-like creature. He was originally depicted by creators Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson in the 1970s as a monster seeking vengeance. The character later took on a new depth when Alan Moore reimagined him not as a man transformed, but as the swamp itself, given memories of a man. It turned the story from horror to something deeply philosophical, about identity, memory, and what it means to be human. That's pretty cool. Now, my experiment here is a lot less extreme. I'm just trying to iron out a few kinks in my recording setup for future videos and live streams. I really want to find that balance between my usual narrative, story-driven videos and the more relaxed, real-time sessions. Something where we can draw and paint together, share techniques, talk about art, and just chill. That's the kind of connection I would love to build here, something that feels creative and conversational at the same time. If you've been enjoying these longer processed focused videos, or you're looking forward to a more real-time live stream approach, let me know down in the comments. I really value your feedback. This video is kind of a test run for something bigger, and your thoughts and suggestions mean a lot. They'll help me figure out what works best for future sessions, what feels natural, what keeps you inspired, and how we can make these moments together even better. And if there's a specific tool or technique you'd like me to dive into deeper, maybe how I use the swab, layer my gouache, or control tone with pencil, drop it below. I read every single one, and it really helps shape what comes next. So, don't hold back. This whole channel and myself grow through the conversations that we have together. Let's talk a little bit about the drawing, because I had a lot of fun with this character. I'm actually using an ArtBoard for this one, and I made a point not to treat it any different than any paper that I've used so far. I wanted to go all in. I wanted to keep pushing in composition, and I wanted to keep pushing in details. And surprisingly, the board did some of the work for me. Its rough surface allowed me to create some really dynamic textures, and that's a pro. But also may be a con if the subject was a bit more refined. That'll have to be an experiment for another day. But once the drawing was finished, I went ahead and fixed it, then applied a layer of gesso, and because life always finds a way, it's been set aside for a few days. All right, so it has been a couple of days. The drawing is done and fixed and gessoed is right here. But it's been a busy couple of days, and I wanted to try to finish painting this today so that I won't get distracted and not paint it at all. So that usually happens when I end up going into tangents, artistic tangents, as I've been in the last couple of weeks and days. So we're going to paint this today, but I wanted to show you guys some of the stuff that I'm working on. I'm actually trying to develop a comfortable setup to do live streams. I would show my mug in the camera on this side, but it is a beautiful day, and if I turn on that camera, I'm kind of backlit, and I don't want to close my blinds, and I have those curtains there that they block out the light really well, and I don't want to do that. It's too nice outside to, you know, not enjoy that sunlight. So I'm gonna turn my camera back off. So yeah, it's been a couple of days. I didn't put a date on this when I started it. I'll have to check my phone to see when I did it, but it's been a couple of days, maybe a week or so. And in between then, I drew this picture of X-Men and X-Force member Warpath and his brother Thunderbird. It's wrinkled like this because I've already sprayed it with fixative and it's gessoed, ready for painting. I wasn't planning on doing it, but I liked it so much that I'm gonna paint it. And maybe if you like it, if you guys like it, I'll set it up as a giveaway. I'll figure out a way to I'll figure something out, maybe either through comments or through likes or whatever it is, through subscribers. I'll give it out. It'll be a gift, painted, and it'll be signed and gifted out to you guys, because I really do appreciate what you guys doing for me and this channel. So that's for you. Just one thing. So, but why did I do this? Why did you do this, Mel? Well, I wanted to do Swamp Thing. I also wanted to work on ArtBoard. I haven't done anything on ArtBoard in a long time. I'm pretty slow during the beginning of the paintings, during the pre-planning page, because I do that a lot. I don't want to stop too long to have to find a certain brush or something like that. So I'm always trying to think ahead, even though 60-70% of the time I won't use the tool that I picked out early, but at least it keeps me prepared. It's better to have it and not use it, or what is it? Have it and not use it, or have it and not need it, or need it and not have it. I think that's the expression. So anyway, where's this paint coming from? But I'm amped up. Okay, I think this is what I'm gonna work on. If I find that I need something else, I'll just point it out. I am going to be using what I call, I mean, I didn't invent the expression, a dirty palette. I use this, what did I use this for? My shadow tribute. I'm gonna pause for a second so I can show you. Yeah, this was my shadow tribute. I have a book there called Pulp Power, and it gives a bit of the history of these amazing pulp characters like the Shadow, the Phantom, Doc Savage, and some other ones, the Avenger. And they're so freaking cool, guys. So anyway, yeah, that's the palette I use for this. And I don't care if it's too watery right now. I actually almost wanted to get muddy. All right, I'm gonna start from the top, see what it looks like. That's fine. Looks a little yellow, and that's okay. What I like to do also is create a vignette effect. I'm gonna clean some of that out. Use that yellow on his right side. And then I'm going to start mixing it with this. To show you how gross that palette is. I love it. I'm also thinking about already my composition. Making sure that I don't put dark where it's going to be light. My brush a little bit. See here has a little bit intense. For me, it's a little bit intense. It might not appear so on the camera, so just put a little water on my brush and move it around. And I am using gouache, in case I haven't mentioned it. I'm gonna make it a little warmer. Let me move this down so you can see it. It's gonna be a little bit warmer on top because it is the sun in the swamp. So I'm gonna just do that. Because I want to keep that effect. We probably won't even see any of this later on. But it gives me an idea. Okay, that's gonna be muck. I guess there's certain times in the stories where he's been so much in the muck, in the swamps, that he's one with it. So you never know. I wanted this hand to look kind of like it was a tree until you realize, a tree root, that is actually his hand inching out of the swamp. Alright, I might be doing too much here, but I want to keep that. So I might just keep doing it. A lot of what I do, guys, because, like I said earlier, I'm not a natural painter, is just seeing what happens. I have an idea. I don't always know how to realize what I'm trying to do. So I kind of like experiment as I go. I don't want to paint too much with this big brush. This was just really for the background, but sometimes the process does that to you, doesn't it? It gets good to you, and then all of a sudden you're doing stuff that you would have normally have done, and it just seems to work out. I'm going to end up starting and finishing the paint right here if I don't stop. I think that's a really good beginning. Alright, get my brushes. Okay. Alright, this board is dry. It's been about an hour, maybe a little more. I really didn't have to let it wait. I didn't have to let it dry for so long. The board really took it. You can see also that I had too much water and it kind of bled out. But honestly, this first wash really already served its purpose, and it helps me, and that stuff can really help me imagine canopy. So I'm using those type of happy accidents, and I'm gonna grab some new paints. I'm gonna reload my palette. I keep bumping into this. Alright, so let's do that. Again, I'm using my Hemis. My Hemis, I've been using these almost 2 years. They're a little dry. Some of them are. But that's okay. Here, I'll show you something. I use this when I need to reactivate them. Camera here. I use this when I'm going to reactivate them. Just a little agitator. Battery powered. No ASMR for you. Spritz it with water and then mix them all up. I'm a bit OCD, so that is like heaven to me. I'll be in here and just mix every one of them. So I'm going to use Prussian blue and this pale green. I'm going to use earthy yellow and black. Let's see what it looks like. The one thing that's so weird about gouache is the way that it dries lighter. You'll sit there and go, oh, that's the darkest that I can go. That's great. Or that's too dark. I kind of messed up. No, man, you're going to be all right. And if it is too much, I'm going to wipe some off. I'm actually going to grab some of the next color. See how that works together. And kind of blend it. And it's all very wet. You're not going to be able to see so much now because of the glare. But as we continue, you're going to start seeing all of those colors. You'll even start seeing some of the yellow come through. And it's going to look really cool, very, very natural. Because because I feel like I'm gonna be losing some of this darker, my details, because they got a little bit muddy when I did that first layer. I'm just gonna go ahead and using some of my darkest and lightly go through to reestablish that base. And I'm not worried too much about precision. I'm just trying to fill in these shapes. If you guys notice me peeking at my monitor, I want to show you what I'm looking at. I'm actually looking at the pencils of a scanned image of my artwork. Because I want to keep in mind the details that I had already drawn there originally. Like, I don't want to lose this stuff here. And I'm beginning to lose some of it as I paint, but I want to make sure that I keep them in my mind. So I keep peeking up and I'm trying to follow my pencil lines. I noticed something that I did over here that I'm going to try to continue. I added more water because I wanted to dry, not to have this extreme of a bloom effect, but I want some pooling to happen so that when it does dry, it creates natural shapes and shades, and it gives it a really cool organic appearance, and it makes it seem as if you spent a lot of time adding detail. And the more time I don't have to do that, the better. On my screen, on my playback screen, it looks so washed out. I hope it clears up. It could also be that my colors are just muted, that they're not as vibrant as I think they are. This is the part where I'm like, well, was this the right approach? I'm going so dark early. I'm adding more shading here than I did in my pencils, just because I think I won't stick out. There might be too much light here. Let's scooch this over. Again, we'll find out. Kind of losing that face, aren't I? I'm adding some rando blue here from my dirty palette just to see if it'll help build it out, and I think it'll be alright. I'm just remixing everything together, blues and greens. Still very chaotic here, but it's okay. I use that as my highlight, so I'll do it here too. It might be too blue, but see how it dries. I think that blue is gonna bite me. I think I'm losing his face here. I think I'm gonna end up adding more green. I need him to pop a bit more. I need to embrace a little bit of his comic book roots here. So what I'm doing when I'm stippling under the underbite, under the lip, is because I still want it to have variation when it dries, just in case there's an indentation or a shadow that really stands out to me and that I like. I can emphasize it, and if I don't, I could just go back over it. I'm a noodler, excuse me for my creaky chair. I'm a noodler when it comes to that stuff. It's because it feels like I'm just inking and penciling, so I'm trying to get away from that and think of painting. All right, I'm gonna re-grab that green. That's not a bad base for my swamp thing. When I'm doing it, I know you just can't see. Let me see if I can move my palette again. That's the Prussian blue. jade, pale green, and the earthy yellow. And I'm just trying to subdue that green. And adding yellow gives a little warmth, and then adding blue gives a little coolness. And I can play between the three. So what I'm doing is I'm actually, what may appear to be like overworking it is because I want it to reactivate the lower layer a little bit so that it can blend naturally. I want some of this green to stand out. I'm just going to introduce it. It's still too wet, so it won't pop so much, but later on, when it's dry and I go back to this color, it'll pop up, and I'll probably add a little bit more yellow. I like it. All right, let me see if you guys can see that. See how that yellowish green here? Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. Just a little dibble dabble. And slowly cool, huh? Alrighty. Alright. So I'm kinda getting into a groove here, so I wanted to stop and tell you guys what's what. So I'm going to move away from the smaller brush, even though it's working. There's a lot of small details in there. So I'm going to go from small brush to kind of like a medium size to a little bit larger. And I'm going to start adding a little bit of white. I'm not getting the type of highlight that I'm looking for. And I don't want to keep adding yellow. I don't want to keep adding yellow to muddy it up. So I'm going to add some white to the mix. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some of this highlight color. It might seem extreme just because the background is still white, but that's okay. And I'm not trying to make smooth strokes. Remember, he's just emerging from the water. He's gross and he's glistening. So I'm still using the brush in various positions. And although I'm going to probably do more layers, you're really beginning to see him emerging not just from the composition, but from the paper. He's getting this cool three-dimensionality that we're always trying to strive for when we paint. I like to get the bristles frayed a bit and splitting. And that gives you some really cool organic brush marks that I'm going to use later on. And I'm not afraid. Oh no, are you breaking? I'm not afraid to go over places that I haven't painted yet with this white, because it creates a place marker for me. And it's going to dry darker than what it looks. If it looks too intense right now, don't worry about it. And most of this stuff is going to be in black. So if I begin to lose this in this painting process, if I begin to lose it where I can't see, then I might stop with the foreground image. Just give it enough on that top piece, and then I'm going to just go into the background. And then work with layers. That's his face thing, because I want that. That's a prominent, so I don't want to lose it. That weird thing he got on his face that kind of accentuates where his skull would have been. You see that? It's like his skin kind of like melted. I want to keep that. I don't want to lose it. I'm painting right now, cautious in case it gets too muddled. So these are kind of more of a way to keep myself in check, even though I might even just be ruining it. But because this is how I've kind of established my process to be, and it worked for me, I'm going to keep doing it. Yeah, unfortunately with the way gouache is, once you start introducing a light source, the glare is crazy. And light source in your house or in your room or in your studio like this, the glare is crazy. I get it sometimes, so I'll lean and it's really bad for my posture. I got a terrible posture. Terrible. Okay, I'm still taking peeks at my pencil drawing to make sure that, I mean, it's not gonna look one-to-one, even if I'm, just because of the way paints are and the way you lose certain things, but that's okay with me. As long as it gets the feel that I was looking for. So I'm curious, what would you guys like to see in my first official live stream back? Would you guys want to see more comic book work like this, or portraitures, or any, just shout it out? You know, I'm into all of it. Pop culture stuff, movies, if you have something like that you have in mind, I haven't done, you guys, I think it'll look cool with my style, whatever. I'm always looking for something to do. I always enjoy a challenge. But yeah, what would you guys like to see? If not just for the first one, for one. I'm always gonna do comic book stuff. It's just in my blood. In my blood. You know, I have to. It's the thing that made me want to draw in the first place, so that's why I do so much of it. It's so cool to be able to go back and look at things that I've missed growing up, and as an adult appreciating them more. But I also like to do portrait work and realism. I haven't done that in a while, like legit realism. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the top part, see if I can get some atmosphere so this guy can pop out a bit more and I can feel like I'm doing something good. So I went again to the other side of that, my dirty palette, added a little black to these mix of blues so I can get that gray. I think the gray with this is gonna go pretty good. I'm looking at my color wheel. I think it'll work pretty good with some black, and then it's gonna be pure sharp black for the trees and stuff. So light in the center, so I'm going to work from the right, from the out in. Okay. I'm going to keep with the vignette look. I'm doing really rough because I want this, the way I want this to dry is going to dictate the shape of the background. So my lightest colors is going to be here in the center. I got a blob of white there that I'm going to, and it's dirty, so it has all the other colors. All I'm doing is making a mess here. I'm going to do some breaks because I want it to appear like light breaking through the canopy. I'm just using all the dirty colors. I'm just going to try to blend them in later. Because again, I'm going to add stark blacks for my trees. That's too blue. That's alright. I'm just using chaotic brushstrokes because I really don't, I mean, it's not the most important part. But I don't want you to be distracted. I'm trying to keep in mind the drawing I had. I like that green that came through. I get the basis. I think that looks pretty good. I might go a little darker in some areas, but again, remember, I'm gonna push all of that further back when I add the sharper black for the canopy. And the only reason why I'm going into the foreground figure with that same highlight is because I still have it on my brush, and you will notice that it's going to begin to start drying darker. And I just want that base because I want this outer part of him to be almost glowing, but not quite. So, and it'll separate him and give him some extra depth. And I don't want to, I'm doing this also so I won't lose the three-dimensionality on some of this stuff here, because they're all beginning to muddy in to themselves, which is okay. I just don't want to lose that form, and I can continue to build on them. But I'm just being rough. I don't want this to look too sharp here. Let me grab some more while I have it. And I'm gonna tone it down by grabbing all the dirty colors. This is what I'm doing here. A little wet. Grabbing all these colors, and that also helps it from not being too bright, and it'll dry darker, but it'll give your highlights layers as well. All right, back to the figure. I think he's getting kind of lost. This is a leg here, so it only looks like he's like that skinny. So I might have to broaden him up here a little bit so that we can see his leg. And I'm going to end up adding a little bit more of this green so that you can see it. So I think I'm pretty close to ending today. Whew. Not bad though. So I'm looking at the screen here. What do I need to do? Add detail to this front arm. I might have to put in some work on that. I focus so much here, and I like the way that is coming out, huh? I might... Yeah. I don't want to rush too much right now. I'm in a pretty good rhythm, but I am kind of pretty tired. So, I'm just going to cover... I don't even need to cover it. I'm just going to clean up. So what I'm thinking of tomorrow when I jump back in here, I'm going to maybe, I don't know if I'm going to do another pass here. I kind of like that color. I kind of like that it's so subdued that almost unnoticeable. And it's going to make, when I do draw in with the paint, the canopy in pitch. I wish I had an example here. I do have an example. Look at that. So this is an an old painting I did using acrylic. So that's the effect I'm gonna go for, and it's on board. 2020, huh? But yeah, that's the effect I want to get. That sharp black silhouette. That's what I'm looking for. That was the word. So I'm going to use that effect of the silhouette for the branches and the vines and the stuff dripping from them on both sides. And I think that'll complete the look, the vignette look, and have him dead center. That looks good. That looks good on screen. I don't think I'm going to add anything else, even though I'm compelled as an artist to keep going. I am going to push myself at this moment, and I'm going to put myself on timeout. It is pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, I'm going to clean up the next time I come back to screen. It will be tomorrow, maybe, hopefully, God willing. And we'll keep going from there. It is the next day, guys. As you can see, I got my blinds open. So I'm going to turn off this front facing, anyway, this camera. And we're going to just keep going. I probably won't be doing much real-time narrating. I'm just probably going to fast forward the rest of this stuff from here on out. I'm going to focus today on that arm. I'm going to try to focus in finishing this piece today. So it's going to be the arm, a little bit more detail on this stump. I'm going to do the silhouette of the canopy. Hopefully I won't ruin this beam of light that I'm going to try to keep. And then I'll catch you guys on the reveal. We'll talk about it a little bit. So sit back, enjoy the rest of the video. I'll see you in a bit. Having done so much on the painting the night before, this part of the session really was just a continuation of that same groove, just maintaining momentum. I was already excited looking at the unfinished piece, and I didn't want to lose that feeling. At the same time, I didn't want to get complacent or distracted, and that's something I'm definitely going to have to work on in the future. Now, don't get me wrong, this little adventure wasn't a distraction at all. If anything, it was the opposite. I actually felt more focused. It honestly felt like you were all in the room painting along with me, sharing moments of quiet with me, and then bursts of creative energy. And that felt really special. It's something I'd love to feel again, expand on as I keep going. One thing I noticed about myself while editing this is that I am not a fast artist at all, not even close. And once I'm deep in the creative process, I just get lost in it. Time becomes relative, peripheral sight blurs, and the world disappears. And before I know it, I'm either done or it's nighttime. That feeling only grows stronger when I share my art with you guys because, as you know, most of my videos are the time-lapsed or shorts, which are quick bursts of creativity of a much longer story. And so much of what I do and share is kind of lost in translation. I think you guys as creative artists that share on YouTube know this. And that's the proverbial pickle, isn't it? I'm a one-man team. Most of my videos take maybe a day or two to edit, upload, and produce. But this one took days. It was a lot of work. But it was also the most fun I've had creating in a long time. Because this format, the slower, more personal way of sharing feels more honest. It even changed the way I'm scripting this piece of narration. There's just nothing better in art than honesty. All right, I think we are done here. And first, I just want to take a moment real quick to thank all of you for watching and for being a part of this little experiment with me. This video was a test run for something I wanted to do for a long time, and your support really means a lot to me. So if you've made it this far, I'd like if you could just flood my comment section with your honest feedback and suggestions. Tell me what worked, what didn't, and what you would like to see in the future or in future live streams or process videos. Your input is what makes this channel grow. And if I haven't said it already, I extremely appreciate it. So let's see what we did here. And there he is, the Swamp Thing, painted in gouache. Let me zoom in for you real quick while we do this. All right. You know, this piece is pretty special to me for a few reasons. First, I really enjoyed sharing so much of my process in real time with you. And second, I'm really proud of how the drawing transitioned into painting. One of my many ongoing goals is to keep the integrity of my pencil work in my paintings. And yeah, I think I did it pretty good, man. I think the dirty palette technique that I used, the dirty palette method that I used really worked out. As you can see, man, I let everything just kind of bleed into each other. It really helps keep the painting harmonious in terms of the colors, and there's a little bit of everything. The warm yellows and from the swamp and grossness, and some cool blues. Working and painting on the board was a bit interesting. I don't remember. I can't remember how it felt when I used acrylic in that old painting that I did, but here it felt like the way gouache is and the way gouache needs water to move, this board really absorbed it. But I'm really happy with the way it came out. It's not as muddy. I did a lot of blending with the water, so I think this was a success all the way across the board. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know who you think I should try to paint next. Doesn't matter if it's obscure, old, new. Just let me know. I enjoy the challenge. I'm always trying to learn and get better. And what better way than to do it like this? So, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Arts of the Round Table. My name is Mello. And as always, I'll draw you later. Bye-bye.